Welcome back to Scarecorn Volume 2, Episode 3, The Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay. While we're on, as the listener, I want you to think about the title of this movie. I want you to think about The Bride of Frankenstein. Now it's kind of funny because Frankenstein's the scientist, so it's not his bride.
yeah,
But
no,
no,
his
that-
bride
that-
was in the last movie.
That's not the question I want you to think about. I want you in the comments. We don't usually ask for comments, but if you're listening to this, put in the comments. How long do you think the Bride of Frankenstein should be in this movie? The Bride of the Monster should she be, in the movie 25%, 50%, 75%, 2%, just in the comments below. And then when we get to the answer, just say if you're right or wrong. That's it. So
Okay, so this movie opens with Mary Shelley and her friends all being like, "Oh, yeah, your Frankenstein was a really cool book. Too bad it ended the way it did." And she's like, "Nah, it didn't end that way. Let me tell you the real ending." So
and let me just tell you, Mary Shelley, she should never write a book.
So, it's revealed that the monster survived the windmill because there was
a hole that led to water.
Yeah, and he just kind of was down there. And so he goes back on his weird mountain mischief
I love
tour.
the deaths in this movie because it's just like, he just like. A guy falls in the water. He's like, ah, and the monster's like, ah, and then they put him in
then
the
he
water. Drowns him. He's like, oh, the guy's like, oh, I'm dead. Oh.
And then his wife is like,
Ah!
I'll pull you up. And then the monster comes up, and he's just like, and now you go in the hole. And he just throws her like a sack of potatoes.
Let me tell you, this was the best death I've seen in a long time. Because both in our heads, I think we're both thinking, oh, she's just going to get thrown into the water,
I thought she tumbled down gracefully.
This movie was like, no, she's going head first into a step. Into a step, and it's like, oh, well, she died better than the guy drowning. I'm just gonna say it.
So the monster is back in the woods, in the mountains, doing his thing, and Frankenstein is now recovering from being tossed off a windmill. Probably should be dead.
So I'm pretty sure the people who watched the movie, the actual real the people back in the 1930s, probably like, the movie just kind of ended the last one, and what the hell happened? Unless this was set up as a two-parter.
No, I don't think it was. I think this was like half a decade after.
Because I'm pretty sure, and you have to remind me. Half a decade?
That's what I think. Because I think
Oh wow! I guess they did kind of look a little older, but because when we watched the first movie, it's just kind of like, oh, he's in bed. Movie ends. The dad comes out. Oh, the dad wasn't even in this movie.
Yeah, he probably died.
Oh man, that's depressing. But they in this movie they're like, oh, this is what happens. This is how he gets home. They carry his body and he's in bed. His wife's there. Blah blah blah. Did you find the answer?
No, I'm working on it.
Oh no, you're letting me.
Okay, so the first one is 1931.
1931. Okay. Next one, 1932.
I'm working on it.
No, I was just saying.
Nope, Son of Frankenstein's 1939.
Whoa, there's a Son of Frankenstein?
Bride of Frankenstein was 1935.
Okay, so 4 years.
So almost half a decade. So, do with that what you will. But anyway, so...
the only reason I'm letting you explain, I don't remember anything from this movie.
Yeah, I'm starting to kind of draw a blank myself.
Can we like...
I'm just going to try...
Can we cut out a third of it? Can we just say like Frankenstein terrorizes people, gets killed?
That's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Okay, you go for it.
So Frankenstein's on his mischief tour. The mob is still hungry for blood. They show up.
Yes, they prove my point. They're looking for someone to kill.
So they tie him to a log and they take the monster to jail.
He has the best face. I said he has the best face for being tied to a log. He's like, oh, they got me.
He's just like, oh, dang. And so they take him to jail, and he's all like, I ain't having none of this. Jailbreak. And he just gets out because, you know, he's the monster and whatnot. Kills a few more people, goes back to the woods. Around this time, Dr. Frankenstein is visited by Dr. Pretorius, who's like, yo, I heard about your research, that's really cool, we should team up and do a thing. Anyway, come check out my research. It's miniature people. My research is way cooler than yours.
So, later on we'll find him in a grave. So does he take dead bodies and then reincarnates them?
I think he did that for this one. I think he was following Frankenstein's notes.
Okay, so like, these tiny people, they're not reincarnated. They're actually real people that got shot.
I have no idea.
The movie doesn't explain it.
He's like, I grew them from a seed. And I'm like, okay.
He did say something about one of them looks like me, and it's like, no, he doesn't look like you.
But anyway, so like these tiny people mean nothing to this movie. Like they're just there to be there, I guess. I don't know.
It just shows that he's a mad scientist.
Yeah, he's weird.
And he does have a line. I think we'll forget. I'll probably forget to it. But he says, "Yeah, you know, like 50 years ago, we would be considered like
we would have been tried for wizards because we're weird people." Anyway, so now the monster is back in the mountains, and he meets a blind man who can play the violin, and they become friends. Because the blind man's lonely, and the monster is, you know, the monster.
So, this is another point I want to bring up, too. The last movie, Frankenstein was fine. Like, he was like...
The monster.
The monster, yes. I apologize. If I say Frankenstein, I probably mean the monster. Because Frankenstein's not really in this movie at all either till the very end.
Yeah.
But,
he fell off a windmill. What'd you expect?
But, the monster doesn't attack people unless they start screaming at him and then attacking him. And then he goes in self-defense mode. Now, he is an asshole that sometimes he just goes out and attacks somebody. But, you know, if nobody attacks him, he doesn't attack them. And this blind guy treats him as a friend. And it was very touching. And I was like, is this going to be the first gay romance on movies? Because they really look like that they were going to be lovers. I'm just saying,
No, he was a man of God.
You know?
But yeah, so they become friends, and then some hikers get lost in the woods, and they're like, hey, do you know the way down? Oh no, the monster!
Let's shoot it!
So they accidentally set the hermit's house on fire. Hermit exits stage left.
Because the two people who start attacking the monster took him. And the guy's like, why would you do this? The blind guy's like, why would you do
My
this?
friends, why?
And then never see him again.
And then the monster falls into a catacomb. Like he kicks open a mausoleum coffin thing, and he just falls in. While the mob chases him yet again. And this is where he meets up with Dr. Pretorius, and Dr. Pretorius is like, yo, I'm gonna make my own zombie thing. You wanna bone it? It's gonna be a woman. So, they go and they convince, with the biggest air quotes, Dr. Frankenstein to help out. He's like, nah, I don't do that kind of stuff anymore. I'm going on the straight and narrow. And then they kidnap his wife. He's like, well...
That's another thing that they don't explain in the first movie, is how fast he was like, oh my god, I just created somebody dead. And then instantly he's like, oh, no, don't want to do that again.
Well, it was scary. He got thrown off a windmill.
Yeah, but prior to being thrown off the windmill, he like changes. Like, he's just like...
That's because his best friend died.
Did his best friend die?
Yeah, Fritz died.
Oh, fuck Fritz. First of all, Fritz is what has caused this whole thing. Because Fritz is stupid. And we'll meet another Fritz. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. They
called him Carl instead.
Because he looked just like it. He acted just... It's like, what? If you're going to be a scientist, you have to have a hunchback guy with you?
Carl didn't really do much to the monster. He just told the monster to go sit down, and the monster took offense to
No, I would not. Oh. You thought you were going to get away with this. We rewatched the
I was gonna put it in the video, but yes, we.
Oh, did you?
I was going to.
Oh, okay.
I haven't done it yet.
Well, we can do it twice.
Nah, I'm not doing it twice now.
No, we're going to.
Anyway, yes, Fritz was an asshole. He came in with the whip, and Frankenstein tried to stop him, and then he got the torch, and then he was being even more of an asshole. Anyway,
because what I was gonna say is Carl attacked Frankenstein because Frankenstein was just standing there, and Carl's like, go downstairs. And Frankenstein's like, "Rrr." And he's like, okay, well, here's a fucking fire. Get back! And Frankenstein's like, all right, off the cliff you go. I mean, this is jumping ahead.
I was going to argue with you, but I don't feel like watching the movie again to find out whether or not that's
Because you did it wrong twice.
Because I thought it was just like, Fritz is like, yo, just back off. And the monsters are like, no, I want to be up here. And Carl's like, no, please, just stop. Go away.
No, Carl. I'm pretty sure Carl.
I mean, yeah, he grabs the torch later.
It's just like
starts in self-defense.
Poke him in the head, like go down.
But anyway, so they kidnap Frankenstein's wife.
You know what the funny thing is?
Not the bride.
You know what's the funny thing is I'm more looking at my phone this whole time than what you are, and you're watching it. I think your eyes just glaze over.
I mean, it kind of did. We're like an hour detached from
what was it that I brought? I don't remember. Sorry for the listeners that actually give a shit about this movie.
No, they're all dead.
But yeah, it's true. There was something that was said, and I don't remember what was said, but I looked up and you're like, oh, something. I'm like, oh, okay. That's when my head was like, I should be watching this movie. This movie's going to be like telling me plot points that have no idea.
I have no idea what
I don't know what the plot point was. I wish I would have remembered. I just remembered this moment. Okay, go ahead and explain.
Okay, so now that they have some leverage on Dr. Frankenstein.
Oh, did we tell him that he kidnapped the...
We're getting there.
Oh. Okay, he said leverage, and then I was like...
Yeah, the leverage of getting him to show up and start working on it. The heart that Pretorius has is not working, and Frankenstein's like, look, we need a fresh one. So Pretorius is like, yo, Carl, go down to the hospital and get me a fresh heart. And Carl just goes, murder. Got it, boss. He just murders somebody on the street. He's just like, fresh heart.
You know, a side tangent, because I don't give a shit about this movie.
We're so close to the end.
No, we're going to drag it on. I work with a guy who reads everything by the rule. Like, he doesn't go in the book like it was. Now, if you tell him, hey, I'm a janitor. I'm just going to throw it out there. So, if you say, hey, can you go check those bathrooms? He'll go check those bathrooms. If there's shit and things are full in there, he won't clean it. Because you just said, go check those bathrooms. So that's like what Carl's like. He's like, hey, go get a heart. And he's like, okay, I'll go get a heart.
Yeah, a fresh one. So, anyway... Now this zombie making machine's got so much more rigmarole to it.
I don't know. I just thought of a porn parody when he said zombie making machine. I just picture Frankenstein fucking everything. Like Braz. I'm pretty sure Braz has done a video of it.
I'm sure it's out there, but that's not what we're watching.
Oh, we're watching that one after this. It's terrible.
So they So Bride of Frankenstein awakens.
I hate this fucking movie.
And she sees the monster and she's just like, that guy's hideous. And the monster's just like, well, damnation for everyone, and he kills all of them.
Did.
Except for Dr. Frankenstein, he's just like, no, you live, we die.
And so Pegington should have been
Pretorius. Not Pegasus.
I didn't say Pegasus. I think I said Pator. I don't know what I said. But that dude should have been like, hey, wait a minute. I've been on your side the whole time over here, monster. I went out and did all this shit for you, and you're going to kill me? I had to blackmail this guy to help you. Let me leave.
And so the castle crumbles, and Frankenstein comforts his wife, and then the movie ends.
So what I brought up earlier about probably the test audience was like, well, we didn't get to see the process of the first movie, because this movie was like, oh, there's kites, and then there's this thing, this and then we
The
will them up.
Cosmic Diffuser. I think that's what it was called. And it's a bunch of, like, metal hoops.
Yeah.
Like, 10 feet tall. And, like, every foot there's a metal hoop that goes around. And it's dumber than hell. It's got 2 disco balls on the end of it. One for the feet and one for the head. And then there's, like, a weird Tesla coil that's not attached to it, but it's next to the top of the head, and some weird, like, earmuffs.
So basically what we're saying, this movie explains more how things work in this than in the first one.
No, it explained less, actually.
No, because the first one, we're just like, we set him up, he gets shocked, and we send
he
him
gets
back
struck
down.
by lightning.
This movie's like, oh, we have kites, and we have this, and we gotta do this.
Anyways, so, like...
So, to answer your question, all you listeners, they probably didn't put a single fucking comment in this section. If you guessed 5 minutes for The Bride of Frankenstein, you'd be correct. And if you did, I would like your comment.
Yeah. Anyway, the best part of this movie was the maid, because she was a huge
Oh,
ham.
yeah.
We didn't talk about her at all, because she doesn't really do anything.
Well, I mean, she did warn the fucking city, like, hey, by the way, I saw Frankenstein. Everybody's like, and then we saw Curious George. Now he's a white guy, so I can say this. But he looked just like, if you look at Curious George, he looked just like him with a hat on. I was like, it's Curious George. Well, I said Little George. Yeah, Jeff's like Curious George. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, that's right. Yeah, Curious
Little George.
But I was like, he had like 2. I was hoping he had more lines.
No, nobody had lines except for the maid.
But the maid was like just like going crazy. She was just like, I saw Frankenstein or the monster. Oh, good. I think even in the movie sometimes they say Frank. I think there was one guy who said, "Oh God, it's Frankenstein."
Or do you say, "Oh God, it's Frankenstein's monster"?
Oh, he could have said monster. I just heard Frankenstein.
I don't know. This movie was kind of bad, and it sucked. Good thing we don't have to watch The Son of Frankenstein.
Yes, thank God.
So canonically for us, this is the end of Frankenstein. Frankenstein no longer exists in this timeline.
It's true. Oh, I just want to say this. I was gonna say it at the end. That poor lady, the poor monster lady. One, she doesn't get credit for who she is. So I think we nailed who. Well, I think I nailed who it was. I think it was the lady who's telling the book. Like, oh, this is how I would end it.
Mary Shelley.
I think that's who it was. Who was the
actress who played Mary Shelley was also the one who played Lady Frankenstein.
And I should say, Mary Shelley, you'll never write a book again. So at the beginning,
yeah, she's dead. Like 200 years.
In the
or 150, I don't know.
In the beginning, the 2 guys are like, they'll never publish your book. And you know what? They're correct, because I looked at that and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I waited an hour and a half to see the Bride of Frankenstein get blown up. She didn't do nothing.
She didn't even get blown up. Rocks fell on her.
She was a victim of the monster. You know, I was just like, well, if I can't have you, you're dead. What a piece of shit. What? You know what? Fuck the monster.
No, don't actually fuck the monster.
Fuck that.
That's how we get Son of Frankenstein.
You know what? Fuck the girl monster. Yeah.
I can't believe she's the original monster girl.
Hey, you know what? She deserves better. Hashtag Monster Girl deserves better. Let's get started. She did nothing wrong. She was a good, genuine, dead girl who was born to love Frankenstein, and Frankenstein's like, well, I guess I got 2 girls now. I'm not cheating because one's dead, and the other one's alive.
I mean, legally. Legally speaking.
Plot point. So, the Frankenstein, captures Frankenstein. Oh, Jesus. The monster captures Frankenstein's wife. Ties her in a dungeon. And somehow, she gets out and finds...
no, she was in a cave.
Yeah, so the best scene. I'm rambling on here, because I'm starting to remember this fucking terrible movie.
That's unfortunate.
The best scene is the scientist, the Pedro.
Yes.
Let him go out. Like, hey, by the way, I did kidnap your wife here, and instead of Frankenstein going like, I should go to the police or the mayor that got recast. I didn't realize it. He became J.K. Simmons but Frankenstein goes out and goes, yep, I can't find my wife. Okay, I'll help you.
Well, you know, like, there's not much he can do. Like, he knows that the monster kidnapped her.
Yeah, I mean,
and then Pretorius comes in like, yeah, I kidnapped your wife. No one's gonna say anything about this.
But yeah,
I've got a monster on my team.
But yeah, so. But the plot point, she just like breaks out and like knows exactly where to go. Like, oh,
I mean, where else would?
Maybe the monster did see the love of both Frankenstein and the girl that he tried.
I doubt it.
I don't know. This movie was terrible. I didn't think I was gonna have fun with it, but I had fun with this review because I got to. When I make you laugh, it's the greatest. You know, it makes me laugh. So now, as a bonus that you won't get to see, we're gonna watch the Brazzers Frankenstein, and hope you guys enjoy.
Okay, we'll see you in a bit.